After too long a hiatus, I am back to finish reviewing the final three Christie books. Today I'm going to be reviewing Curtain, but I will also be reviewing Miss Marple's Final Cases and The Sleeping Murder. Poirot's last case, Curtain, is a great novel, and a great novel is not something that we have come to expect from Christie in her waning years. Her writing kind of went into decline, and that's seen in novels such as Postern of Fate or Elephants Can Remember. They seem bogged down by a lot of memories, and the plots plod along even if there's an interesting kind of spark that gets the novel going. This novel is unusual in that although it was published in 1975, it was written in the early 40s. Christie was working in London, again as a dispenser and volunteering for the war cause. It's during the Blitz on London, so Christie very wisely did not know whether she would survive the war or not, and so she wrote a final case for Poirot and had it put into a vault and said it was not to be published until after her death. So, after Christie died, of course, this novel and Sleeping Murder, which she had also done for a last Miss Marple case, were published, much to the delight of Christie fans all over the world. This novel is different from later Poirot novels, even though it comes later, or is published later, in that Hastings comes back. We don't have Ariadne Oliver in it, and of course, because it was written in the 40s, it cannot make reference to any of the subsequent novels of the late 40s, 50s, and 60s. This novel brings everything full circle for Poirot. Poirot's first case was the mysterious affair at Styles, and Styles was this country estate in England, and this is where he first met Hastings, and they solved their first crime together. Poirot is back at Styles' court, and Styles is now kind of a guest house, and there are several people there, and he invites Hastings down. Hastings' daughter is one of the guests at the guest house, working for a doctor and his wife and doing some research. And the reason Poirot summons Hastings is that among the guests there is a murderer who can never be kind of captured for his crimes. He's beyond the reach of the law. And the reason for this is that this person... Their kind of a method of murder is to kind of plant the seeds of murder in other people and get them to commit the crime. So she was involved, and I'm using both pronouns here indiscriminately, just so I don't reveal anything, no spoilers. And so she is involved in at least 5 different murders, and other people were apprehended for the actual murders. One person died, one person was put in an asylum, but because this person never had a direct hand in the murder, they get off scot-free. Poirot's worry is that this person will continue to use this MO to get what they want. And they do. In fact, there are any number of people who want to commit murder or do commit murder in this novel. Even Hastings gets that murderous lust in him as he starts to suspect someone is kind of tampering with his daughter. And so things are going along, there's some tension, and Hastings' daughter Judith, her employer's wife, is found poisoned one morning, and Poirot gives evidence that shows that she actually committed suicide. And so there's no further investigation into that, but of course any death like that raises a number of eyebrows. Later on, there's a man by the name of Stephen Norton, and he's found dead in his bedroom, shot through the head. He's got the key in the room with him. It's locked. The room is locked. There's a gun by him, and he's got a hole in his head. Probably the biggest shocker in terms of death in this is the death of our hero, Hercule Poirot, who is not murdered but dies of a heart attack. And he gives a message to Hastings, giving him some clues as to how to kind of come to the solution of this mystery and what's happened. One of the clues, it has to do with the play Othello, and another has to do with a different literary work that I'm not very familiar with, but it has some similar ideas that run through Othello. And the third is that he asks Hastings to visit his trusty butler, George. Now, George has not been on this at this guest house with Poirot. Poirot, who is now wheelchair bound with arthritis, has another butler named Curtis. And so Hastings goes to see George, comes to some conclusions, and in typical Hastings style, the conclusions are wrong. And several months later, he gets a letter from Poirot explaining everything. And in addition to the explanation of the murders gives us the satisfaction of knowing that that the person that Poirot was going after will no longer cause the deaths of so many people. But the revelations of the two deaths in the novel lead to some surprises that I can't get into without spoiling it. Anyway, it's a really fun novel, and it's fun to have Hastings back. I give it a 4 out of 5, just because there are parts of the plot that kind of drag a little bit. It's not as clean and neat as some of her best work, but it's certainly a very satisfying end to Poirot's fantastic career through Christie's novels. Up next, I will be reviewing Miss Marple's Final Cases, which is a collection of short stories. We'll see you next time.